Welcome to the deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today, that's exactly what we're doing, diving deep into, well, what might seem like an unusual place. First Chronicles chapter 3.
The genealogy chapter.
Exactly. You look at it and, okay, it's a list of names. Seems pretty straightforward, maybe even a bit, dry.
Right, but that's kind of the challenge, isn't it? Our mission here is to unpack what's behind the list.
Yeah, the story hidden in those names. What can this genealogy tell us about, continuity, history, identity?
A surprising amount, actually. Looks like just a list, but think of it as a really carefully kept historical record. This chapter is laser-focused on King David's line.
The royal line, mostly.
Primarily, yes. It traces it from his earliest sons, born back when he reigned in Hebron, then Jerusalem.
Okay, yeah, I see that. It starts right there. The sons born in Hebron. Amnon, Daniel, Absalom. 6 of them.
And notice, it even gives the mothers' names for those Hebron sons. Ahinoam, Abigail, Makkah.
That's interesting detail for so early on. It really places them, doesn't it? Father, mother, location, Hebron.
Precisely. It establishes that initial period, 7.5 years in Hebron, it says. Then, the big move to Jerusalem for the next 33 years.
And the list shifts there, too. Sons born in Jerusalem.
And quite a few more. 13 listed, I believe.
Yeah, 13 more sons. And it singles out 4. Shammua, Shobab, Nathan, and Solomon, sons of Bathsheba.
Right, explicitly named. Then 9 other sons follow.
But then comes a really curious line. After listing all 19 sons, Hebron and Jerusalem, it says, all these were the sons of David, besides his sons by his concubines, and Tamar was their sister.
That line is packed with information, isn't it?
It really is. So it specifically leaves out sons from concubines, but then includes one daughter, Tamar, just her. Why her specifically, especially right after saying other sons aren't listed?
That's the puzzle, and it hints at the chronicler's purpose. It suggests this isn't just a head count of every child. Excluding concubine sons probably relates to, well, inheritance rights, the primary royal succession.
Okay, that makes sense for a royal line. But Tamar...
Tamar's inclusion is striking. We know her story from elsewhere, a traumatic one. Naming her here, when other daughters presumably existed but aren't named, could be doing a few things, maybe highlighting her story's significance.
Or maybe just acknowledging her place in that core family unit before narrowing the focus.
Could be, or maybe both. It definitely shows us that this isn't just a mechanical list.
Yeah.
There's editorial choice, a deliberate selection process happening.
A list with an agenda, you could say?
Sort of, yeah. A focus, and that focus snaps right onto Solomon immediately after this.
Right, and then it just marches down the line of kings of Judah, Rehoboam, Abijah, Asa, Jehoshaphat, generation after generation.
It's like the backbone of Judah's history, laid out there king by king all the way down to Josiah.
A familiar list if you know the history, but then, after Josiah, it lists his sons, and things get messy. Jehoiakim, Jehoiakim,
Who it specifically calls the captive.
and Zedekiah, the last kings. This is the crash, right? The fall of the kingdom, the Babylonian exile.
That's the breaking point in the history. You'd almost expect the list to just end there, a full stop.
But it doesn't, which is maybe the most surprising part.
Exactly. That's what's really significant. The genealogy pushes right through the exile. It follows Jehoiachin's line, even though he was captive.
It mentions his son Shealtiel and then Zerubbabel.
Zerubbabel,
Sure.
son of Pedaiah, yeah. A huge figure. He led the first wave of returnees back from Babylon.
And the list keeps going even after him. Through his sons, it mentions a sister, Shilamith, then descendants of others, too, like Hananiah, Shekinah, several more generations.
It branches out a bit more after the exile, doesn't it?
Mm.
Before, it was mostly that single royal line. Afterwards, while it still tracks a main line, it includes more family heads.
So it's not just about kings anymore.
Not solely. It seems to be reflecting the reality after the monarchy collapsed. It's showing the persistence of family structures, of community leadership, even when the state is gone. It's highlighting who mattered among those who returned and rebuilt.
So it's preserving identity when the kingdom itself is lost, holding on to history through family.
Precisely. It's a testament to survival and memory.
Okay, so as we wrap this up, let's think about that. What's a final thought on this whole process? Tracking lineage so meticulously, even through disaster like the exile.
Well, I think it forces you to consider the power of such lists. It wasn't just record-keeping. It was an act of identity preservation. And think about those choices. Who's in, who's out? Why mention Tamar, but not the concubine sons? It tells you something about the values and priorities being emphasized, what defined the community for the chronicler looking back and perhaps looking forward. It's about what story they chose to tell through these names.
So for you listening, consider that. This seemingly simple list in First Chronicles 3, it's actually carrying the weight of history, survival, and the very definition of a people. What does this stubborn insistence on remembering lineage, even in fragments, tell us about how we understand ourselves and our connection to the past, especially through times of upheaval? It's more than just names on a page.